Hello everybody, I'm Catherine Martin and I'm here today to show you how to complete a crayon design program. It's called Crayon Boom and it's made from basically melted Crayola crayons. So what you need is a box of crayons. I'll go through the supplies in a moment. This is a picture of how the program or how the project will look. And this one is completed on ordinary cardboard that you have around your house. You just cut a piece, and what I did with this particular one is I took a piece of computer paper. You can see it's tacked or glued onto the cardboard. So you don't need artist board. You can just use ordinary supplies that you have around your house. If you do happen to have a canvas, you can use your canvas for this project as well. So you don't have to have a canvas, but if you do, that works well. That you can use that as well. Okay, so this is a blank one, obviously. And here's a picture of one that I worked on, how it starts with the crayons. So let me just go through some of the supplies for you. And like I mentioned earlier, um, use regular ordinary Crayolas. Now, Crayolas are needed because this brand melts really well when it gets heated up. Some of the other brands don't melt like Crayola does because they have different composition that the crayon is made of. There's some plastics or other ingredients in there. So the only one, and I've tested this out, that works or the best is the Crayola brand. Okay, and they melt really well. So you can also, when you take the crayons out, you don't necessarily have to take the wrappers off. Now notice that I have on these, I took the wrappers off, but it looks really fun if you just leave the wrappers on as well. Now, how do you take the wrappers off if you want to? You can just use the, have mom or dad help you. Just use a pair of scissors, and then you can make a tiny slice in the side of the crayon. And the wrapper just pops right off if you want to. If you decide to leave the wrappers on, it's nice and easy that way. And the wrappers look really fun when you're doing the project with the wrappers. Okay, so you got your crayons and you can take the wrappers off if you want. You're going to need a glue gun ready to go. Have a couple glue sticks available. Have mom or dad help you with this part because, again, it gets hot and you could, you don't want to hurt your fingers. Okay. And finally, the other thing that you're going to need to have real quick, sorry, is a blow dryer. The blow dryer is best used with a cone at the front, like if it comes with this, where the heat is going to be pushed or centered exactly in one particular position. If you have this style, it works really well. If you don't have the cone on the front, like if it's not built in, it will look something like this. But that works well too. It just doesn't direct the heat centrally. So it sometimes takes a little bit longer, and sometimes the heat is directed into different positions or different angles. So one thing about this is that it does make a drop of a mess. So notice the blow dryer itself gets a little bit crayony. So what you should do is when you're ready to do your actual program, you can put it in an area. And what I usually do is take regular paper from the computer paper, and I will hang this up next to the project. And then I have the blow dryer ready to go. So for example, when I am thinking about starting my program, if this is my canvas, I will put this kind of paper all around um, the project, and then I'll lean the project up on a corner wall or a spot where it can get dirty. You could even do it outside in the backyard, or you could do it in the bathtub, or a spot where it's not going to matter if it splatters too much. So whatever works for you and your family. But the more paper you have on the outside around it, and you could just put it on the wall with a piece of um, tape, then it can, when it splatters, or if it splatters, it will go right on the paper, and then it's an easy cleanup. It just goes right in the garbage when you're done. The fun about this project is it makes such a unique um, artwork that each student or each patron is going to be able to construct on their own. Now, a couple of things about how to secure the crayons. And you can put as many crayons as you want if you want to make them really close together. And what I usually do is I put 8 crayons. So this one has 4. So let me just show you how to do that. Okay, so here's a canvas, but again, you can use cardboard, paper with a computer paper. That works just as well. So decide on your colors. So for example, here's a red one. And what I'm going to do is you guys will hold this flat. Can you see this? Here, let's bring it closer. And here we go. You'll hold it like this, and you point the tips of the crayons downward, so they're all facing in the same direction. And you line up the crayon so it gets right to the edge of your cardboard or your poster, whatever it is. You could even use poster board for this as well. So what I do is I put a little line of hot glue right exactly where I want the crayon to go, and then I stick the crayon in the hot glue, lining it up right at the edge. And I have to hold it for a couple seconds until the crayon secures. So maybe count to 10. That would be good. Okay, and then you'll see, you let it go, and then obviously you'll know right away if it's stuck. Okay, so let's go on. We'll take a couple of other colors. We could do it this way. It's easy to hold it flat when you're gluing them so that you can get a really nice glue surface adhering, like it sticks and it doesn't fall over. Okay, but for showing you guys, I have to hold it sort of on an angle. So again, my next one. And by the way, like just what happened, if it detaches or comes off, you can very simply just make some more hot glue. Go on here and just re-stick it. So every now and again that might happen. And remember, the crayon actually melts when it's touching the hot glue. So it takes a second or two to get them stuck and line them up. All right, so here's the next one. So I did red, now I'm going to do blue. And you could do any colors you love. Or you could do random. Or you can make a set pattern. I like making random colors, but let's say you have certain favorites. Like if you only like, let's say, purple, you can pull out all the purple crayons from a couple boxes and make the whole thing one color. But with that, remember the design is going to be more unique if you have a variety, and it will show a lot of random colors, which are going to be really fun to see. So let's keep going on this. I'm going to take another color. I could also use my darker colors. They're really fun. I can mix it up. So I'm putting glue again here. A nice long strip of glue. Have the crayon ready and hold it. Have your parents help you with this part. Again, the hot glue gun and the sticking part. Again, line the crayons up with the edge as much as possible. Okay, let's go again. Good. And now I'm taking, let's say, an orange. Oops, that guy kind of slipped. And I'm going to hold it like that. Okay. And let's go, how about a purple? So you can fit as many as you like. You can make it really packed, full of crayons. And you can even reverse the board, and I'll show you that in a second, when you can put crayons on the other side. So then when you're doing the blow drying part, you can simply flip your board. And I'll show you what I'm talking about in 1 minute, as soon as I glue down my crayons. Whatever your imagination holds on this, you can do. And you can blow dry for as long or for as little as you like. Again, the more heat you put on it, the more the crayons are going to melt. And then it will give you this beautiful design based on how you work with the actual blow dryer. Okay, so I'm going to stop there on this particular one. And I have colors that go all the way across. So what I was mentioning earlier is you can flip the board and you can put a whole bunch of crayons on this side as well. So you could have a double pattern. And if you noticed before, and I'll show it to you again, on this particular one that I just made on the cardboard with the computer paper, I had put some along the bottom, a row, and then I had a row on the top on the other side. Now notice here a couple of them are actually missing or they're gone. They melted so much. So depending on the heat of the blow dryer, it's going to change the shape of the crayons, either a little or a lot or 100%. Like over here, they actually melted away. And I just have a couple of small ones here. Notice that on this particular one, it ran a little bit over the sides of the paper and it went onto the cardboard, which that's really fun as well too. Look what happened over here. So it does make, it makes sort of dribbles or melting downward. And then if you flip it, you could have them going. Notice the trails of the crayon come downward this way and they mix and blend. That's really fun. So you could start out with particular color like red and blue. If you melt them together, you could get a purple. So if you know your colors and you wanted to make a different scheme or mix, you can mix your colors. And if you mix them too much, you get dark, like a black color. So if you want to keep on going and going, then it just keeps getting darker, which looks really fun as well too. Here you can see individual colors and some splattering. These little dribbles coming down. It's all in whatever your imagination is. If you want to keep on blowing it and going, you can. So let me show you how to actually do the project now with your blow dryer. So the blow dryer is going to provide the heat to actually melt the crayons. Okay, so let's get started on some of that. And so what I'm going to suggest is, like I said earlier, you can, let me just get this set up for you. You can use some computer paper all around or on the outside of the project so that you keep it neat and clean and not spattering. So on this particular one, the best way, and I'm going to give you an idea of how to do this, is you're going to have the blow dryer plugged in and you focus the blow dryer right down on the tip of the crayon. Don't focus it up here on the top or in the middle. The reason for that is, remember, the blow dryer is going to heat up, and if too much heat goes in a particular area, then the blow dryer will, the crayon will, it could snap or come off. So if you start at the bottom and direct the heat upward, it begins melting the crayon in that order. And you'll see as you're trying it with your parents, you'll see how the crayons begin to melt. And also changing the direction of the blow dryer changes the spatter marks. Like if you want them to go sideways to the left, to the right, just straight downward. Now, if you wanted to go straight downward, the best way is focus this, hold the blow dryer upward and point it right at the tip. And then you'll notice right away that it starts and begins melting. So what I'm going to actually do is I am going to turn on the blow dryer for a couple of minutes. So you will hear the blow dryer going and you will see some of the crayon begin to melt. And then you'll see the coloration. So on this particular one, I only have 4. So I'm going to switch over to my larger design. And I'm just going to put the heat on here, and I'm just going to try to keep it level with some of this paper. And you don't need the hot glue right now, so you can put that away. So have all this taped for yourself as you're going, and have it in a secure spot so that the spattering does not go in places that you don't want it to go. So I'm just going to lean it upward here, spread this out. And of course this has technical difficulties because it is leaning against me. But here we go, let's try it. So I'm going to turn on the blow dryer, so I'm going to just stop talking for a minute. Okay, let me shut that off and show you what's happening. See these dribble marks? And that was just, what, a minute long. And the spattering, and it did flow in this direction. So I put some heat on the tip of this blue one, and look at all these spatters. And then we got some of this one melting. So depending on how you're holding that heat is what you're going to actually get. There's a spatter mark all the way down here. And the heat of the blow dryer is going to keep on making little dribble marks. I also got it on my hand a little, but that's okay. Everything is, you can clean everything up here. So let me just show you this one again, and then we'll go back to the blow dryer. So depending on the heat and depending on the position, you get a really nice melting effect. So here we go. I put the blow dryer on these. I held it this way, and I had the crayons melting downward. So the heat was applied right here. And then the spatter mark. So you can mark on each crayon individually, meaning you could start and go straight across. And then you get these nice drip marks. You can then go back to a particular color and make that color go on top of the other color by remelting it a second time. Again, starting at the tips. So I had them, they were all glued this way and facing downward. Okay, they were lined up right here. And look how much these melted. Melting those tips down. Look at these drip marks. Spatters, they go left and right depending on the angle that you're going to hold the blow dryer. Look what happened in this case over here with these blues. They mixed. We got a whole trio of different color blues and even a purple kind of color in the middle. So it's really fun to experiment with your colors and mix and match them together. And you could actually have some of them overlap. So we have blue with the yellow, We got a little tiny bit of green in here, but mostly you can see the blue spatters and then the yellow underneath. Then I have this pink, and look what happened here. It blew over into the yellow section, and it came out to sort of a reddish area. Same thing here. If I held the blow dryer, and I held the blow dryer this way, the heat, and look what happened with this blue one. The blue made giant spatter marks over. The red one too, I held the blow dryer this way, and the red made giant spatter marks. You can make it run, drip, spatter, depending upon what you like the most. You can mix those colors. So let's look on this side. If I turn it over, look at all these colorations I got here. I got a nice mix of purple. I have blue, red, and then mixing together and getting purple. Then I have red and yellow. At separate times, look, I got a dark red, like a burgundy, and a yellow mix here. These were melted so far that they actually disappeared or melted down. So that's why you want to work off the tips of the crayons. So let's go back to a little bit more blow drying. And what I'm going to do is hold these up again. The best scenario for you, the best way to do this is flat. So in order for me to show you, I'm just trying to hold it up so you can see it on the screen here. Okay, here comes the blow dryer again. Have the parent help you with this part. Okay, so look what's happening now. We got some more spattering. We got a whole bunch more down here. And look what's happening with the blue. And we want to try to keep it on the board as much as possible. Notice this crayon actually bent a little bit, and because of the melting process. Eventually, look what happened here, melting, and look what happened to the tip. If you apply the heat in such a way, you will actually make the crayon turn to liquid, and it will just flow downward. It is going to make those drip marks, and it is going to blow on the side. Like I got some on my hand, but that's okay. And so you want to completely cover your area as the melting process begins. You can keep on going with that heat until you get those crayons all the way down to small little pieces. Again, as they melt, keep the heat away from where you secured them up here as much as possible. Reason again, making sure that you don't knock the crayons off the board with the heat, because the heat will just knock the crayon as it melts. It'll just disintegrate or disappear. Okay, so let me show you some others that we did. So hold on one second. Let's go and take a look at some other creations just to give you some ideas. Okay, so this was done with the crayons on top again. This is on a poster board and a canvas, but you can again do it on cardboard, just what you have around the house. I glued the crayons across. Notice the melting process that took place here. And look at these colors. This one is very much blended, meaning I kept melting and mixing, and look what happened to the colors they blended. Now, if I keep going here, and I can, I can make spatter marks, drip marks, and the crayons will just become liquid, flowing downward. Okay, so that one's really fun. Okay, here's another one I just want to show you. I want to give you some examples. Depending on how far you want to go. Look at this one. This one looks really organic as far as, look at those crayons. They really melted up. This one I kept more to the center. You could do that as well. If you point the blow dryer upward, look what happened. The crayons flowed in that direction. They actually went off the canvas up here on the top. Again, if you have cardboard, the same thing. They could flow in any direction that the heat goes. Now, the more blended you make it, the colors mix together. So you have all these great colors, and then over here it came out a little bit mixed but dark. So you can stop on each color, just do one color at a time, and you can get that unique flow coming down. So that's really fun. And then I let it drip down here at the bottom. And look at these marks. So you're really making a piece of art for yourself, and that you could hang it up, and it's gorgeous, and it works for a really long time. Like you can put your name, your date, sign it like a real piece of artwork. Here's one more, and look at the spattering on this. Look what happens to the crayons too. They became thinner, longer. Some of the tips you can still see, and some of them bent. And you can keep going on this and keep melting and melting and melting. And look at this blended look. Look what happened over here. These two were heated and they melted together. Again, holding the blow dryer in whatever the direction, towards or down really is probably the best way. And then the flow will go down the canvas or down the cardboard. And look at these marks depending on the heat. So it's really experimental depending on which way you're pointing the blow dryer for the effect you want to get. So depending on the way you're holding it and how much heat you apply, you get a random different type of pattern with various colors. This one blended here in the middle as well. Look at this. You can also see individual colors from the crayons that are very near it or next to it. And I did get some spatters down here at the bottom, which that's really fun if you like that kind of an idea. And it looks like bursts of color in spatter marks. So you can do a little bit or you can do a lot. You can change the pattern, changing the blow dry direction, depending on what position you want or what effect that you want to get. Keep the blow dryer heat constant, and you can even try it on high, in the direction of the crayons. Usually facing down is the best. Okay, so we are just about done. And I'm just going to wrap it up. And I hope you had a great program with us. You can try it on your own. Make sure you have your parents helping you, because we have both the glue gun heat and the blow dryer heat. Make sure you cover your area and so that it's an easy cleanup. So right now I can just take these pages and just discard them. And then in the end, you have a wonderful, beautiful project that you can hang and hold, have it forever. And it is really, everybody's is going to come out uniquely different from each other, because depending on how you hold your heat. All right, so I hope you enjoyed our program today. And again, I'm Catherine Martin, working with the library to bring you great effects in artwork and great colors. If you have any questions, I guess you could post them, and I could get back to you. I hope you enjoy watching this video, and I hope your project comes out fantastic and the most amount of fun that you could do melting crayons. So enjoy, have a great time, and thanks for watching. See you